primarily bombs and artillery rounds, which is not particularly an efficient way to deliver biological weapons because the heat can destroy much of the biological agent. He is also experimenting with aerial sprays from planes and helicopters, but biological agents work best when dispersed at ground level.
Could somebody drive through New York City spraying a very fine mist and aerosol?
In theory, yes. An aerosol generator could be placed on really any kind of a vehicle.
They noisy?
The efficient ones are quite noisy, yes.
Can you see the mist?
You might be able to see a fine mist right near where it's released, but a few meters away, you would not be able to see it.
Any smell, taste?
Not necessarily a smell or a taste.
It's pretty scary.
It is.
There is some good news. Anthrax inhalation can be effectively treated with antibiotics if caught in time. And Colonel France says the U.S. government is much better prepared to deal with a biological terrorist attack than it was just a few years ago. And Professor Messelson says it's not nearly as easy to carry one out or as likely to happen as some might think. In fact, he says, it's already been tried.
The armed cult in Japan, we are told, tried to release an anthrax aerosol across the street from the American embassy. Nothing happened. They didn't know how to do it.
So it's trickier than most people think.
It is. It's not something that you're going to do in your bathtub and put in a perfume bottle and go out and attack your neighbors.
As UN inspectors return to the field, they're returning to the old status quo. There are no guarantees they will have any more access or any more success locating Saddam's weapons or the documents that may hold the secrets of his biological arsenal.
It's impossible for Saddam to allow the inspectors to enter the presidential palace. I emphasize, and I am sure that these documents are there in the presidential palace, but I am sure that the inspectors will never be allowed inside.
And there's one more thing the general is sure of.
If you think that Saddam will give you the weapons, you are mistaken.
Never?
أبداً, never.
I rolled the dice for $8.
I unloaded my Tonka for $12.
We went to Club Med for $18.
Smart investors know it. You get the lowest commissions of any deep discount broker with Ameritrade. Internet trade for $8, touchtone trade for $12, or trade with a broker just $18.
I just sold a ton of steel for $8.
And that's the lowest price per trade no matter how many shares you trade. Just call 1-800-592-7694.
I sold the store for $12.
Plus, your first 5 trades are commission-free when you open an account with Ameritrade. Call 1-800-592-7694 or visit our website.
Traded my Fiat for BMW. Unloaded BMW for Mercedes. All before lunch.
Ameritrade. Smartest way to trade, period.
You've got this huge customer. They're so huge, sometimes they don't even know when they've received a shipment. Whose problem is this? Yours. That's why you ship UPS, because only UPS captures signatures electronically. Then you can use UPS online tracking software to see your customer's actual signature. So when they say, "We never got it," you can say not only did you get it, but you don't dot your I's. UPS Online. Are you connected yet?
From the beginning, car design started from the outside. But at the Chrysler Corporation, we like to look at things differently. So one day we asked,
why not start with the people and work out?
It started a revolution called Cab Forward. Cars that are roomier, more interesting to look at, more fun to drive. And now that we've built more than 2 million of them, it's time to ask, why not keep pushing it? At the Chrysler Corporation, it's how we build great cars and great trucks.
A respected attorney accused of a terrible crime.
She's considering rape charges. The woman had her hands all over me.
She says it's rape.
You don't believe me?
He says it was a moment of passion.
Your father raped her.
This is a total fraud. Brian Dennehy in a world premiere movie. Indefensible, the truth about Edward Brannigan, CBS Tuesday.
What's the true meaning of love?
That's kind of a hard question.
You'll fall hook, line, and sinker when Candid Camera looks at love, CBS Wednesday.
They are known as the JFK Papers, a collection of more than 300 letters and notes supposedly written by President John F. Kennedy. If authentic, they would provide the strongest evidence yet linking JFK to all sorts of sinister activities, from ties to the mafia to payments of hush money to his reputed lover, Marilyn Monroe. The problem is just about everyone, from document experts to the national media, has said they're fake. However, the man who says he discovered the JFK Papers, Lex Cusack, insists they are real. He is so convinced that he came to us with all of his papers in hand, asking us to examine them, prove him right, and everybody else wrong.
I think for someone to embark on a hoax like this would be insanity, insane.
Lex Cusack is a 47-year-old former law clerk who says he was cleaning out the files of his late father, prominent New York lawyer Lawrence Cusack, when he came across hundreds of papers that, if legitimate, show that his father had secretly provided legal advice to President Kennedy from 1959 until his death in 1963. So all of those years, you never knew that he was giving advice to the president?
No, not true. I didn't know directly that he was giving advice. There was a number of times that there were sort of signs that my father was always involved in something that he was not talking about, that was kept confidential and quiet.
What is in these JFK papers appears to be an extraordinary correspondence between John F. Kennedy and the lawyer Lawrence Cusack on index cards, notepaper, and White House stationery. They write to each other about everything from mundane tax issues to Kennedy's efforts to keep a lid on his alleged dealings with Marilyn Monroe and the mob. Did you ever stop and say to yourself, wait a minute, I mean, this is hard to believe. And John F. Kennedy, in his own writing, with letters that would reveal that he had an affair with Marilyn Monroe, that he planned to buy her silence for $600,000, and that his family had an illicit relationship with the mafia boss, Sam Giancana. Did you ever stop to say, whoa?
Yes, of course. I mean, that's why I said there's fear and trepidation. The subject matter was so explosive that you have your own disbelief. Then what I figured the next step to do was confirm the handwriting to make sure this isn't someone else writing down a story or telling a story or whatever. So
Cusack says he took 6 of the more than 300 documents to a noted autograph expert and document dealer, Charles Hamilton, who declared those 6 documents to be authentic. It was then that Lex Cusack says he decided to sell his collection, and he brought it to this man, Thomas Cloud, an established dealer of gold, diamonds, and documents.
I was just blown away. I mean, it was the most significant find, in my opinion, in the 20th century. It's exciting to sit there and look at something that was penned by Kennedy talking about Marilyn Monroe or Sam Giancana or something, you know, of that magnitude, and you're holding it, you're looking at it. It's a great feeling. I looked at it as the best opportunity in my career, and I've been in the business 21 years now.
It was an opportunity to make a lot of money, and Cloud and Cusack did just that. They sold the documents for more than $6 million, and Lex Cusack was suddenly a wealthy man. He purchased this $1.3 million home in Connecticut and a Porsche, a Mercedes, and a Chevy Suburban. He also bought this $500,000 summer home in the Hamptons on Long Island. Former CNN anchorman Bob Lozier and insurance executive Gary Vick are among the 140 people who invested in the JFK Papers.
I had chills running up and down my spine when he was going through this. It was awesome.
They were in some ways, many ways, the missing links as to how Kennedy dealt with Monroe, how he dealt with his father, with Bobby Kennedy, Sam Giancana. They seem to fit into a real mosaic of history.
I bought it, number 1, to make money, number 2, because of the history involved around it.
Lex Cusack was on top of the world and preparing to make the JFK Papers public. A blockbuster book on Kennedy by Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Seymour Hersh, with a chapter devoted to the JFK Papers, was in the works. and a 2-hour documentary for ABC was in production. But then the roof fell in. ABC hired 2 forensic experts who examined 7 typewritten documents, some bearing signatures of Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy, and concluded they were forged. If you look at those documents under a microscope, you can see that some letters were typed incorrectly and then lifted off the page. The problem is this system for correcting mistakes was not available on typewriters until well after Monroe and Kennedy were dead. What followed this discovery was a barrage of news stories branding the entire Cusack collection of fake. And there were suggestions that Cusack himself may have forged them. Seymour Hersh took the chapter on the JFK papers out of his book, and ABC removed any mention of the papers from its documentary. His back to the wall, Cusack offered us complete access to all the original documents. He said everyone had jumped to conclusions without ever examining 98% of the collection, some 700 pages of handwritten documents.
I think it's impossible for somebody to have forged the number of these documents, the information in the documents, and everything that had to go in behind forming these documents.
Not one time in the 4 years that I've dealt with this have I heard there were any problems with the handwriting. Nobody's ever questioned the handwriting. I have never heard that one time.
Cloud and Cusack were right about that. No one had questioned the handwriting because nobody had thoroughly examined more than a few documents. So we hired Dr. Dwayne Dillon, one of the top document and handwriting experts in the country, to look at all of them. He came highly recommended by investigators at the FBI and the U.S. Postal Service. He examined Cusack's JFK papers and compared them to hundreds of examples of President Kennedy's known writing.
You spent a lot of time looking at this?
Yes, I have spent quite a number of hours.
And in every case, with the variety of documents, you come to the conclusion that?
That it is not the writing of President Kennedy.
That they're all forgeries?
Yes.
We hired Dr. Dwayne Dillon, one of the most respected document examiners in the country, to evaluate the handwriting in your collection. After an extensive examination, he concluded that the writing on those documents was not the writing of John F. Kennedy. He said it was a forgery. Your reaction?
I don't doubt that he said that. I don't doubt that he may think that. I do not believe that he is a Kennedy handwriting expert.
Dr. Dillon may not be a Kennedy expert, but he is a handwriting expert, and he's been doing it for 33 years. He told us he is certain the JFK papers are a forgery, and what convinced him was his discovery that certain frequently used letters in Cusack's collection didn't match Kennedy's handwriting.
This is an example of one of the G's on the Cusack papers, and comparing that with the actual type of G, which I find throughout the Kennedy writings.
So you can see a clear difference in these two?
Yes.
When you look at those two G's, one looks fairly smooth and the other looks narrow in some places, fatter in others. What causes that?
When a person attempts to simulate the writing, they are, in fact, in most instances, attempting to draw the model that they see and do not show the freedom of line movement that you see in a normal handwriting.
And Dr. Dillon found other inconsistencies. The J's in John Kennedy were strikingly different, as were the H's in words like Hyannis. Dillon says President Kennedy wrote with a continuous fluid stroke, but in the Cusack papers, the writing is slow and awkward, resulting in gaps within words, as you can see in this word, misunderstandings. Dr. Dillon also analyzed a letter supposedly written by Marilyn Monroe to JFK.
This is a letter that says, "Dear Jack, I hope you understand. I only want to make sure that my mother is taken care of. This is difficult for me. I'm afraid she will not be cared for. I will be silent on this secret of yours about Sam G. and others. Thanks, M. Monroe."
It's not Marilyn Monroe's signature, and the body doesn't match known extended writing that I had of Marilyn Monroe.
So she didn't write this?
No.
Good forgeries?
I'd say that those are poor forgeries.
But Cusack and Cloud point to another man, Robert White, who they claim is one of the nation's top Kennedy handwriting experts. White authenticated their entire collection after looking at it under his microscope.
Did you ever look at them under a microscope?
No. The last time I owned a microscope, I was 12 years old, and I looked at ants in my backyard. I mean, I don't own a microscope. If I had one, I wouldn't know what to do with it, with a document.
The fact is, Robert White is a collector of Kennedy memorabilia, of passports, wristwatches, neckties, and rocking chairs. He is not a handwriting expert. White says he merely gave an informal opinion that some of the handwriting in Cusack's collection looked like Kennedy's, and it's an opinion he no longer holds.
What credentials do you have as an authenticator of handwriting?
I don't have any forensic knowledge on handwriting analysis at all.
So if anyone ever suggested that you're a handwriting expert, they would be mistaken?
Totally mistaken. Totally.
If you're not qualified to authenticate something, then why do you think they're holding you up as the person who has validated their entire collection?
I can only say that desperate people at some point do desperate things.
Desperate, he says, because now the JFK papers may be worthless.
These documents now have what we call in the marketplace the kiss of death. They're forgeries.
He's backing off his certification. He was here the other day. He was here the other day.
Why would he back off?
I don't know. It's just because I'm afraid that they're afraid, might be afraid of getting sued by these people that relied on his authentication.
So because of that, he's changing his word?
It must be. It must be. I can't think of any other. He's given no indication to us. In fact, we were told all week long that Bob White is standing behind everything he said before.
Despite the evidence pointing to a forgery, Lex Cusack and Thomas Cloud are going on the offensive. They are filing a $100 million lawsuit against ABC and other news organizations, claiming that they've been defamed by reports suggesting their documents are fake.
Excuse me if this sounds a little harsh, but isn't it bold to file a lawsuit against all these news organizations claiming that they've defamed you, when you have the leading document experts in this country who are unanimous in their opinion that what you have here, what you are selling, is a forgery?
We have 12 other leading document experts in the country who have the experience behind the Kennedy papers to know that say they are not. Okay?
Well, let's talk about the 12 document dealers and autograph experts who at one time or another authenticated this material. We talked to them, and 9 of the 12 said they have withdrawn their authentications. They say they don't want their names associated with the collection anymore. Why would they do that? 9 of the 12.
They're scared, right? They're afraid for their businesses, their own reputation. 2
of these people say that they were tricked into giving their stamp of approval, and 3 of them say they're now convinced that most, if not all, of your collection was forged. I mean, that's not a very good sign.
No, the 2 that you say were tricked were not tricked.
There are now just 2 handwriting experts on record who still believe these papers are authentic. Charles Hamilton, who is dead, and his widow Diane, who also examined some of the papers. That's not very comforting to the 140 investors who have spent millions of dollars buying up the JFK papers.
When do you get to the point where you throw your hands up and say, I want my money back?
I want the truth to come out. I hope if they prove not to be true that they will pay the money back.
Let me ask you a very blunt question, Mr. Cusack. It's been strongly suggested by some people that you forged these documents. It's a pretty serious charge.
Yes, it is.
Your response to it?
It's absolutely incorrect. It's absolutely incorrect.
And you in no way altered or created these documents?
No, I did not. No. No.
Certain?
Certain, yes. Yeah, certain.
Lex Cusack may be asked that same question again under oath before a federal grand jury, which is now investigating whether fraud was committed in the sale of the JFK papers.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, yeah, we're happy tonight. Walking in a winter wonderland. Wow. into the Gap. Yeah.
Coolness, lasting freshness. Cert's Cool Mint Drops. Coolness outside. Inside, a drop of Retsin for fresh, clean breath that really lasts. So you can keep your cool longer. Available in new freshmen, too.
R.W. Cooperman, you've been served.
What? Half? She gets half? I'll give her half. Here's your half.
Maybe we can work this out.
60 Minutes, a CBS News magazine, will continue.
Angels are Broadway-bound with special guests Carol Burnett, her daughter Carrie Hamilton, Tim Conway, and Rita Moreno on an all-new Touched by an Angel. Then, they thought he couldn't hear anything, so they told him everything.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do. Hallmark Hall of Fame's What the Deaf Man Heard, CBS tonight. She said it was rape.
Don't believe that.
He said it was a moment of passion.
This is a total fraud.
Brian Dennehy, Indefensible, the truth about Edward Brannigan, CBS Tuesday. The address is CBS. Welcome home.
2 terrific dinners, 2 tickets for a Broadway musical or comedy, all under $50. A great night gift certificate for the new theater restaurant. Call 649-SHOW. They even gift wrap and deliver.
You don't have to be a mind reader to know what they'd like for Christmas.
Barron BMW, I-35 and Shawnee Mission Parkway.
2 terrific dinners, 2 tickets for a Broadway musical or comedy, all under $50. A great night gift certificate for the new theater restaurant. Call 649-SHOW. They even gift wrap and deliver.
You don't have to be a mind reader to know what they'd like for Christmas.
Brian Curtis and Felissa Smith, weekday mornings on News 5.
The all-American, family-loving, Bible-quoting Southern Baptist Convention, the nation's largest Protestant denomination, and the Walt Disney Company, the world's largest producer of family-friendly programs and products, seems like a match made, well, in heaven. But last June, delegates to the Southern Baptist Convention's annual meeting voted to boycott Walt Disney.
They are pushing a Christian-bashing, family-bashing, pro-homosexual agenda.
Richard Land is president of the Southern Baptist Convention's Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission.
And you need to understand that when you take your money and you go to the theme parks, or you rent the animated features, or you go to the animated features, you're helping to subsidize material in other venues that is going to be an attack on your values and your beliefs.
Well, that's ridiculous. We're not pushing any agenda.
Michael Eisner is CEO and chairman of the Walt Disney Company.
We are pushing in our corporate marketplace tolerance and understanding, expansiveness. We are totally onto an ethical compass, a moral compass.
Now, why do you think that the Southern Baptists have targeted Disney for this boycott?
I think we're large, and when somebody attacks us, it gets their agenda into the news.
Disney is not Mom and Dad's Disney. They're not Mr. Disney's Disney anymore. They have moved over to the other side of the spectrum.
From Land's office in Nashville come the leaflets with suggestions on how to avoid Disney theme parks, Disney retail stores, Disney's ABC television, Disney magazines, Disney record companies, Disney sports franchises, and Disney movies.
So what was wrong with The Little Mermaid? That's a sweet little movie.
Well, I haven't seen it. I am told from those who have seen it and who have watched it carefully that there was the suggestion that a clergyman became sexually aroused while he was performing a marriage ceremony.
The allegedly offending bulge goes by in less than a second. But if you were to slow down a few frames of this scene, you might think the preacher was indeed more than happy to see Ariel.
There. Right there, right there, right there.
Okay.
Well, first of all, it's completely untrue. You know it's untrue. I know it's untrue. We've gone back to the,
What is it?
It is clearly his knee. Everybody knows it's his knee. It's just people spending too much time looking for things that aren't there.
The Southern Baptists also say Pocahontas is an example of Christian bashing.
Now, what was the problem with Pocahontas?
Well, it's another example of how they twist history. If you'll go into the rotunda of the Capitol, you will find that Pocahontas was baptized as an Orthodox Christian. Disney does not want to have positive portrayals of Orthodox Christians.
Because I'm on 60 Minutes, I have to act proper and not get crazy and excited and annoyed, but that is just ridiculous. I mean, Pocahontas, I think, is one of the most pro-social movies made in the 75 years of the history of the Disney company. It's about an American legend. It's about a Native American. It's pro-environment. It's about the earth. It's about respecting one another. By the way, she didn't become a Christian in the legend until after our story ended.
Do you at least see their point of view? Do you understand? Or do you just say, wow, that's nutty?
In private or in public?
On 60 Minutes. I mean, obviously, anything you say...
On 60 Minutes, I say it's, everybody has the right to criticize and...
and in private, you say, wow, that's just nutty?
Well, on Pocahontas, no, we don't do everything right, and we make mistakes, and we do inappropriate things, and a company with 115,000 employees is not flawless. But when somebody says Pocahontas is anti-Christian or anti-Jewish or anti-black or anti-Native American, I say inside, deep down, they're nuts. They really are.
Nuts? Well, it's not just the Southern Baptists.
God bless you. Thank you for coming. And
Other conservative groups like the American Family Association and the Catholic League are also boycotting Disney.
We ask for a transformation of Disney, or Disney will go down. Yeah.
And Southern Baptists like William and Dawn Pate agree.
The videos, those are one of the big things that we watch in our home. You know, our children love the videos.
So you stop that?
Yeah.
Denomination leaders have calculated that if only 1 million of the millions of Southern Baptists like Dawn Pate withhold just $100, Disney is out $100 million.
I don't know who else is boycotting Disney. For us personally and morally, this is a stand that we wanted to take to teach our children, to set an example for them.
But the Pates live in Kissimmee, Florida, a stone's throw from Disney World, which their children, 10-year-old Travis and 14-year-old Leah, love to visit.
I like going to Disney a lot. It's a happy place to be at.
But she doesn't go to Disney World anymore.
Do you get any grief because you're boycotting?
There were some girls at my school, and I was telling them that I was boycotting Disney, and they didn't really understand. And I explained, and they still didn't really understand, and they don't see where I'm coming from.
Do you support that?
Yeah.
Really? You're not sure?
Like we can live without going for a while and stuff, but just that it was a lot of fun when we went to. They had a lot of fun rides and stuff.
So it isn't easy boycotting Disney, but the Pates and the other boycotters believe that Disney is encouraging the wrong values, and nothing upsets them more than what they see as Disney's promotion of homosexuality.
I'm so afraid to tell people. I mean, Susan, I'm gay.
Ellen DeGeneres' coming out on ABC last season offended the Southern Baptists. They say Disney owns ABC TV and should have intervened.
That was her choice and ABC's choice, and I think has been very well done.
But what about the complaint that it's no longer just a show where a gay person is in it, but it's a show now promoting the homosexual lifestyle? She kisses a woman on the air.
I'm new at this, so I don't know the do's and the don'ts and the signals and the...
Well, first of all, we period.
So you were sensitive to
Well, to the extent it makes people uncomfortable or we feel there is something in it that we should warn parents about that may be against what they believe in, we put an advisory on it. As long as it remains a tasteful program, as any other program has to be a tasteful program on ABC.
Now, that's a good question. Is it tasteful to have two women kissing on television?
It didn't offend me. Does it make some people uncomfortable? Probably. Did we put an advisory on it? Yes. Would we in the future? I don't know. At the same time, even for the Disney company, on a non-Disney branded show, I would be hard to ask ABC, either in their news division or in their public relations division or their entertainment division, to cancel or edit something out that was mature.
When you put the advisories on, are you in any way responding to this boycott move or the Christians who are sending letters and putting ads on the air?
No.
Disney has been sensitive to the tastes of its Christian audience. It has officially sponsored Nights of Joy for 15 years, sold-out celebrations of Christian music.
You are His prized creation, the apple of God's eye. Yeah.
Let me show you another tape. This is Disney World. This is Gay Day at Disney World. And you see men just mingling with everybody else, holding hands.
The homosexual organizations arrange that day themselves. We do not put signs up that say no blacks allowed, no Jews allowed, no homosexuals allowed, as long as they are discreet and whomever our guests are, handle themselves properly, dressed properly, they're welcome in our doors. And I think it would be a travesty in this country for us to exclude anybody.
And that's why, he says, Disney gives health benefits to the partners of gay employees. It's something 1,000 other American companies and colleges provide, but Southern Baptists nevertheless find it repugnant. What is the convention's view of homosexuals? You don't like homosexuals?
We love homosexuals. We're commanded by the Lord to love everyone, including homosexuals.
So
we
why
detest
all this...
homosexuality, as does the Bible, as
But then
does
why
God.
deny them health benefits?
We're going to deny, or do the best we can to deny the normalization of a lifestyle that we believe is abnormal, deviant, unhealthy, and dangerous.
Well, they say they're just trying to promote tolerance.
You know, when they say, as one of the producers of Ellen did, they feel they will have accomplished their purpose if one teenager feels more comfortable about their sexuality. It's not ABC's job to help children feel more comfortable when they have questions about their sexuality, and we're exercising our right to protest it.
So is the boycott working? Turns out most Southern Baptists are not supporting it. In a recent independent poll, 55% of Southern Baptists disagreed with the Disney boycott, and the Reverend Jim Henry is one of them.
We are going to fast and pray today for Michael Eisner.
Pastor Henry, once president of the Southern Baptist Convention, preaches at the First Baptist Church in Orlando, a mega church in the shadow of the Magic Kingdom.
What do I tell our people who work at Disney? Quit?
Hundreds of his members work at Disney. Some even gave him this warning.
You know, if you all are going to do this, if this is what you're about, don't invite me to church anymore. I don't want to hear about it. And anything you say, I'm not interested in, if this is what you're about.
So in his weekly televised service, Jim Henry told his parishioners he would not support the resolution because it is difficult to manage, because the Bible speaks nothing of boycotting, and because Jesus wouldn't do it. Now, is it true that your sermon is carried on an ABC station?
Yes, we've been with them 25 years as an ABC outlet. And
No, but if somebody in your church wants to support the boycott, they can't watch you then. That's what it would mean.
That's exactly what it would mean. If I did the boycott, we'd have to say, ABC, we're off. And I couldn't do that when there are thousands of people that we know we're reaching.
Reverend Henry and other Southern Baptists say they have made overtures to Disney, asked for high-level meetings, but the company has not responded.
It comes across as being arrogant when you got millions of people with deep concerns, and there's no response, or very little response.
But Michael Eisner says he did respond in this letter, in which he explains that Disney's trying to promote tolerance and compassion. And he tells the Southern Baptist Convention, "I hope we can be patient with one another." And there was one meeting between boycott representatives and a Disney executive in Washington, D.C., but it didn't go well. Would you sit down and meet with, face-to-face, a group from the Southern Baptist Convention to talk about these issues?
I will meet with anybody at any time when it is presented in a rational and non-media hyped way. So my answer is absolutely.
Is the boycott having any effect?
Well, you've got me here in 60 Minutes trying to respond to it, so to that extent it has some effect. It hasn't had a financial effect. We've never done it. No.
The Southern Baptist Convention plans to continue the Disney boycott for years and years and claims it will build momentum.
I think we're the wrong group to go after, but the one thing that's great about this country is they have the right to do it, and they're doing it the right way. They have the right to do letter writing campaigns. They have the right to hold back their wallets. They have the right not to go to our property. I love that. I respect that.
Ill winds mark its fearsome flight, and autumn branches creak with fright. The landscape turns to ashen crumbs when something wicked this way comes. Introducing the 300 horsepower V8 Lexus GS, the fastest automatic sedan in the world.
I signed another customer today.
Oh, yeah? That's great.
Honey, do I detect a little jealousy?
Why? Just because you have a fantastic job with Warsaw Insurance.
Sweetie, being a globe-hopping rock star isn't such a bad job either.
It's just not as fulfilling as business insurance, now is it?
Well, at least you've got your fans.
Yeah.
Unless they're here for me.
We're the business insurance experts from Wausau.
The computers become a stage for the entire planet. Better get a good seat. Hayworth, furniture for what's next.
3 cups of rice chex.
3 cups of corn chex.
3 cups of wheat chex. Here's what you add next. 4 pretzel snitchers. 3 peanut lovers. 5 hungry kids.
No matter who drops in.
The perfect snack is what you've got.
For your party mix, chex marks the spot.
Feel the power. Feel the excitement of Cosby. Lord of the Dance.
Did you like my dancing?
You stank.
All new Cosby. Then, boogie on down to Ray's 20-year reunion.
Oh, man.
What was that?
I went to high school with that guy.
What hidden secret from Ray's past
I used to throw you in a girl's room all the time.
will finally be revealed?
I knew it. You think I'm a nerd.
It's an all-new Everybody Loves Raymond, followed by a special Murphy Brown and an all-new George and Leo, CBS Monday.
Tonight, Rooney has your number, and he isn't happy about it.
I dislike being a number. I even hate to take a number. All of us dislike being identified by number, I think. First, we're all saddled with a 9-digit Social Security number. I have a business address, that's 10 numbers. I have a business telephone number, area code, that's 10 more. Already, I have 29 numbers. A 10-number telephone, including the area code, home address, and zip code, 8 numbers. I have 47 numbers, and I'm just getting started. We have 2 cars, each with 2 license plates. My bank account number has 9 digits. Now I'm up to 67 numbers that I should remember. Yesterday, I got my new American Express card. It has 15 digits. What's that all about? The number 1 trillion has only 13 digits. Why do they need a number so many times bigger than the number of people there are in the whole United States? My Visa card has 16 digits. My MasterCard has another 16. Now I'm up to 114 numbers that someone uses to put their finger on me. The zip code was going to be magic. Now a lot of addresses have added 4 numbers to their zip. In most cities, the telephone company is adding more area codes to confuse people. There are 270 million Americans. Why doesn't each one of us get assigned just one of the 270 million numbers And that number would work for everything. It would be your Social Security number, your address, phone number, bank account number, American Express, everything. Why should our zip code be different from our area code? I mean, this is a computer world. Phone company computer would recognize who the number was when someone dialed it and ring that person. There would be a different sounding ring for each person in a house or office. There are a few details that would have to be worked out, of course. I'm sure none of us wants our American Express card on our license plate.
I'm Mike Wallace. We'll be back next week with another edition of 60 Minutes. And now here's a look at what's coming up this week from CBS News.
I'm Jane Rovelo. On CBS This Morning, the season's best video games. And Mark McEwen shapes up for the Winter Olympic torch relay in our series, Mark, Don't Drop the Torch.
On tomorrow's Evening News, our hard news investigation takes you inside the most dangerous place in America, where tons of deadly plutonium may be an easy target for nuclear terrorists.
Francesco Lafabula has just created the little black dress that will change everything. The magazines have created a frenzy, and you have sworn that your stores will be the first to carry it. Enter UPS. Customs gets cleared electronically. The global network kicks in. Also that at the same time, on the same day, the dresses arrive from Europe to each of your stores nationwide. Success is a beautiful thing.
Nice dress.
UPS, moving at the speed of business.
The new Lincoln Town Car poses a dilemma for your accountant. Is it travel or entertainment? The new Town Car from Lincoln. Still exactly what a luxury car should be.
Hey, stranger, where you been?
I don't smoke anymore.
Sorry. I mean, great. How'd you do it?
Nicoderm CQ.
CQ? Isn't that the patch with the, 3 steps?
Mm-hmm. I'm doing the steps.
While Nicotrol has only 1 step, CQ has 3. So you gradually step down your dose the way doctors and pharmacists prefer.
Steps, Dad. The way to go.
Nicoderm CQ. The power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to quit successfully.
Okay, last time. You have your documents, passports, visas.
With the Creativity Imaging Center that can capture and send images...
Scared? This should help.
The new compact Presario 4800 series with Intel Pentium 2 processor can change the way you look at life.
Say hello to your new daughter.
The Presario 4800 series from Compaq.
Angels are Broadway-bound with special guest Carol Burnett, her daughter Carrie Hamilton, Tim Conway, and Rita Moreno. Next on an all-new Touched by an Angel. Then, they thought he couldn't hear anything, so they told him everything.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Hallmark Hall of Fame's What the Deaf Man Heard. CBS tonight. Monday, when a DA's wife is murdered.
They're gonna be asking about you and Jenny's relationship.
Manhattan homicide.
Everyone on the force is a suspect.
Ask what you want to ask.
And a rookie cop gets trapped in an undercover sting gone bad. With no backup and no way out. All new Brooklyn South, CBS Monday.